Um, I thought I had like flu-like symptoms, and so I had this real heavy cough, and I went to urgent care, and they gave me prednisone and some antibiotics and said, come back if you're not feeling better. Well, I mean, I just wasn't feeling better, so I ended up going to my family doctor, and the nurse practitioner said, she checked my pulse rate, and it was like 122 beats per minute, and she said, either you have a hole in your lungs or you have congestive heart failure. And they took me to Desert Samaritan Hospital, so I was in ICU for a period of 7 days as well. So my first experience was, when they let me out, when I got out of Desert Samaritan, they actually recommended that I go to UCLA or the Mayo Clinic to be evaluated for a heart transplant. And so, I felt scared. I didn't know whether or not I'd live or not. My mother took me to Dr. Force, and I barely was able to get out of the car and walk up the. Well, actually, at that time I was trying to take the elevator, but it was like equivalent to a person running 10 miles just for me to walk to the elevator. And so, for the most part, I felt hopeless because I didn't really get a lot of encouragement from the medical doctor. When I went to market first, I was essentially at the kind of like a last resort. I mean, I was really in search for someone who kind of believed in the same thing I believed in, which was, isn't there a more holistic way to treat this condition? But I listened to everything that Mark told me to do because I could tell the difference in how I was feeling, and I started to get stronger, and I started to be more alert, and I always felt energized going into his office because he brought a sense of hope to his practice, and he believed in what he was doing, and basically said, hey, if I, one of the things I admired about, and I still admire about Mark is, his view is if he can't help you, he will recommend someone who can better treat you, given your condition. And so, based on that, you have to, at least from everything I've been involved with, you have to have somebody you can trust. And Mark Force is definitely a person that I can trust, or that I do trust, because he basically saved my life. I was able to regain my strength, and I ended up getting better in terms of being able to move around, in terms of being able to sleep well. And it still took me some time because, like in 2006, I was still, getting regular checkups through the medical doctors, getting feedback from the UCLA Medical Center, and I ended up getting put on the wait list for a heart transplant. And at the time, my kids were running track, and I remember making a commitment saying that one day I'll be able to walk up those Mesa Community College bleachers, and I was able to do that. While I was still going seeing Mark on a regular basis, getting supplements and adjustments and acupuncture, and getting balanced and making sure that I was taking the right nutrition. And let me back up just a little bit, because when I got out of the Desert Samaritan, I was on 90 prescription drugs a day. It was one drug to do this, another drug to counteract the symptoms of something else, and it was terrible. And my goal, because of how I felt, was to ultimately get off the meds, and I was able to do that. And so I listened. I mean, I listened to everything Mark said to do, and I followed his instructions. And I remember one of the things that was refreshing to me, because when I was going through the traditional medical route, it was always discouraging. It was always an inducement of fear, as if, you know, you got to take this drug, otherwise you won't live, kind of thing, and you know, you don't have much longer, and you know, just different things like that. And the only person that provided a source of inspiration and a source of encouragement was Mark and members of my family. So you know, I remember sharing with Mark that I was going to go out to UCLA and get a stress test or get evaluated. And he said, well, you know, if you keep doing what you're doing, you know, they may just tell you, you know, you don't need a heart transplant. And fortunately for me, that was the case. And I even got to the point where I was able to run up the ASU mountain. Initially, I was walking up ASU mountain because that's where my kids went to work out. So I was with a series of Mark's treatments and the things that he directed me to do, and you know, his guidance and my willingness to listen and carry out his instructions. I think that's why I'm here today, and that's you know, that's my story.